Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Marjorie Wildcraft, and I'm super excited to have Curtis Stone, the man, the myth, the legend, the urban farmer, with me. And I know actually Curtis and I were talking, and I've been talking to a lot of other business owners, Kevin Espiritu and all kinds of folks, and all of us are having to reevaluate and rejigger and adapt and maybe change up some of the staff or different ways we do things. And I know that that's going on for you too. The economy's in complete chaos. It's descending downward, and so this particular interview is going to be all about an option for you to generate some extra income very simply and very easily with an extremely simple, proven track record. And so Curtis Stone is the guy who's really figured this out and dialed it in and has offered a way to do that. And you want to talk a little bit about that, Curtis?
Yeah, sure. So, one of the easiest ways to generate revenue as a so-called farmer is to grow what's called microgreens. And it's the great thing about microgreens is that they're a really fast turnover crop. I call them a gateway crop. They're sort of something you can get into literally in your basement or extra bedroom or office space. You can grow them anywhere, and they grow in 7 days. And microgreens are still an early crop as far as its view in the public. I thought for many years that we'd hit a saturation point with microgreens because I've been teaching people how to grow them for 10 years now. And my company, freedomfarmers.com, does exactly that. And we've got other experts in our course platform that actually do it better than I did, because I don't actually grow microgreens as a business enterprise anymore. I've gone on to different things, of course, as you know. But the microgreens are still the easiest way to set up a cash flow business in very little space. Couple hundred square feet of space in the room I'm in right now, the room you're in right now. You could set up a small rack of microgreens. Actually, I could even haul a rack over here and show you it if you want to see. And make $500 a week very quickly, very, very quickly. And the
Wow,
basic
500.
idea,
Now, is that gross or net? Are we talking about?
that would be net. No, sorry, gross.
Uh-huh.
But it all depends on the number. So let me actually show you one thing right here real quick.
Okay.
Right here. So this rack here, this is on casters, okay? And there's a light on there. And this rack has 3 shelves. And basically a flat of microgreens is, this isn't microgreens, this is tomatoes, but that could be a flat of microgreens. That's a 10-20 flat, we call that. And a 10-20 flat can actually produce $20 of gross profit per month. Oh, sorry, per 7 days. And your net on there is about 15. So there's about $5 of cost in there with everything: labor, soil, seed, everything. And so a rack like this that has 3 shelves, and with microgreens, you could make this into 4 shelves very easily. I've got this spaced apart differently because I'm using it for nursery stuff. But for microgreens, it's a lot different. Their needs are a lot less. But you could do 4 shelves like this at 4 flats per rack. So that's 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 20 is $320. So with one rack like that, it could make $320 per week. Okay. And how much square footage does that take up on the floor? Like 4 or 5, 6 square feet. It's insignificant. So you could start with one rack like that, and in 7 days have $320 of crop.
Wow.
Simple.
Yeah,
And then you could
I know.
stack from there.
Yeah, even at our local farmers market, they often sell out of microgreens, and there are actually 2 sellers there now, and they sell out. So
Yep.
you're right. I mean, even though this has been going on for a while, we really haven't reached a market saturation. I've
Not
also
at
seen
all.
whole, yeah, and so that would be selling at that would be selling at retail at farmers market type situations, which is a couple hours on Sunday morning. And I guess of that money, the money for labor would be going to you, right? So that's counting. It's actually a little bit more that you're making than
Yeah, and the
$15 a pot.
labor is
Yeah.
insignificant. I mean, we're talking to grow that many, to grow 16 flats of microgreens a week is, you know, a couple hours of labor. It's very, very insignificant. The thing with microgreens too is that they're super nutritionally dense. You know,
Oh yeah.
they're a superfood.
Hmm.
You know, we juice. I just had my juice. We juice microgreens all the time, and they are a supercharged food. They're so good for you. They're so full of life. But yeah, you're right. They are growing in popularity. They're easy to grow and they're easy to stack. The nice thing about it is you can do microgreens and start with something like this. You know, this all the infrastructure for a shelf like this, lights, enough flats and soil is probably less than $500.
That was
You
my
know,
next question. Yeah. What's the
what
capital
kind of
input? Yeah.
business can you start for that kind of money? You know,
Hmm.
none.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no businesses like microgreens. The beauty of it is that it's so low risk that you can kind of just get started without breaking the bank, and you can start bringing
And
money in.
honestly, yeah. And then having just that equipment is so useful, even if you don't ever make it a business. Like I've
Exactly.
almost always got a setup like that, just like you do for tomatoes and for other things that you
Sure.
want to get started. And you
Yeah.
can do this. You can do this year round, right?
Absolutely do this year round. I mean, that's when you really start to make the money, is because when you have, especially in cold climates, if you have fresh greens in the wintertime, people are all over that. I mean, we crushed it. I mean, when I started doing microgreens in my early days of farming, like very quickly, I was making $1,000 and $2,000 a week in,
Wow.
January, February, March, which are the dead months of cold climates. I was bringing in thousands of dollars a month with not even full-time labor doing it. And certainly, when you scale, your energy costs go up, but you can also do these in greenhouses, and,
Hmm.
and that's how I did it. My energy costs when I was doing microgreens were insignificant because I didn't do any artificial lighting. I did sometimes supplement on the shoulders of the day, on maybe the last few days of the crop, and that way I could get that crop growing quicker, because microgreens, if you have the perfect conditions, most microgreens will grow in 7 days. So that's from seed to harvest in 7 days. Now, if you want to keep that going all over winter, you're going to need energy costs, but it's
Hmm.
not crazy. However, if you use greenhouses, you can just accept a slightly longer growing cycle, and reduce your energy costs that way. So maybe you don't have light inputs as far as electricity, but you're just having heat inputs. So it's maybe to heat a greenhouse, you can heat a greenhouse with gas or wood or something better than electricity, because electricity is typically not very cost effective for heating.
Hmm.
But of course, depends on where you are. But if you just accept a longer growing cycle and then you overlap your planting patterns and just accept, okay, I'm on a 10-day cycle, big deal. That's what I used to do in the greenhouse. I would just do a 10 or 14-day cycle. And because I have a lot more room in a greenhouse, it was easier just to overlap the plantings. So it was
Yeah.
fine
Got it. Wow.
because,
So in other
yeah,
words, there's a lot of flexibility in this, and you can do this in any climate.
any
And
climate.
there's lots of ways to mitigate against the cost of heating or other inputs.
That's right.
What about the selling now? I'm envisioning, because I go to the farmers market every Sunday and I see them selling it there. What other outlets have you found as successful for selling your
Yeah, well,
microgreens at?
that's a good question, and we actually don't even really encourage farmers markets anymore, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, do farmers markets are a great way to get started, right? Get
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
market and sell and meet customers. Hey, nothing wrong with that. But as far as scaling the business, the number one way our clients who go through our program do it now is direct customer, using a simple online platform. So it's almost like a CSA, if you're familiar with the
Hmm.
community supported
Hmm.
agriculture box program. So what you do is you sell a $20 per week package of microgreens. Usually that could be um, 2 to 3 types. So you might have some pea shoots that you could use for juicing and a variety of things. Have a bag of sunflower shoots, and then maybe a mixed bag of a mixed type that has some radish and some kale and broccoli mixed in, that is good for a salad mix. So you can sell a package like that at $20 a week. and people just order online. And actually, in our course, we have a whole platform that allows you to do it. We even show you how to build Facebook ads to market this, because we've had, I mean, at this point, thousands of people that have gone through our program and have had success with this. And that's what we encourage. And so you set up a little delivery network, and you go and you're just cranking out 20, 20, 20, 20, boom, 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 boom. Some of these guys are doing 100 deliveries a week for
Wow.
microgreens. And, can you imagine that? $20 per pop times 100. Now we're talking money, we're talking
Yeah.
$2,000 a week in microgreens. That's totally doable in a pretty small space. And so that's what we encourage. I mean, we of course we cover all the bases when we talk about market streams, because that was my forte as a farmer, was my marketing abilities. But yeah, farmers markets are great, restaurants are great, wholesale accounts to grocery stores are great too. But the best one is direct consumer, at a $20 buy per week, is consistent, scalable. You can offer incentives to your customers. So if you bring in a new customer, you get a week free of microgreens or something like that.
Hmm.
The online technology that we have today to communicate is tremendous. And so to not use that, um, you can fall behind. Whereas, just doing farmers markets, those kind of days are, I mean, sure, there's some farmers markets that are great, and some people just do farmers markets. I'm not saying that that's not the case, but to use the technology now is so beneficial to your business, and will allow you to scale it a lot quicker.
Got it. That's awesome. Curtis, what is the name of your program? I guess we'll get a link for people to get down there. And then you were
Yeah.
actually talking to me a little bit offline about a kind of a back end way to get the course and a bunch of other stuff that was actually less
Yes,
expensive than buying the
that's less
course
expensive.
outright. So,
That's right. Yeah.
yeah,
So the
I
course,
really want to share that with people if you don't mind.
totally. Yeah, of course. And it's just way better value for people. So freedomfarmers.com is our website. And our biggest course is our microgreens course with Jonah Kroc-Malnick. This guy
Hmm.
does $750,000 a year on microgreens with 4 people full time. Okay. This guy blew me out of the water. I found him a number of years ago when I was touring around making videos, and I approached him and said, "Man, you should build a course with us, because you are the number one guy like I've ever seen." And so the course with him, the course sells for just under $1,000 US.
Hmm.
And the course has tremendous value. It's a business in a box, shows you everything you need to do as far as the production and the marketing, everything. But we have an offer now where people can pay um, $600 per year, but we're going to give you guys a discount on that, get it even lower, to get access to all of our courses. We have 20 plus courses at freedomfarmers.com. So we not only do courses, but we do live events, and we have coaching calls with all of our instructors. And so those happen every single month. I do a coaching call where I teach people about finding property. We've got an incredible program called the Homestead Accelerator, which for your listeners in the United States and Canada will get tremendous value from. We evaluate homestead, rural, off-grid property all around the continent, and we showcase it to people, and we do reviews of the property. So we showcase properties, or if you want to get on the land, this property is a turnkey homestead, and so that is
Wow.
included. So for this offer that I have for your audience, you're going to get our entire everything we have in our platform for less than $600 a year. I forget what the number is, but you'll have it in there. We normally charge $600 per year for it. You get access to all the courses and all the services that we offer, but we're going to give it to your audience for even cheaper than that. And so there'll be a link in there. And so, yeah, for that one fee per year, you get access to everything. So if you even think about it, if you were to buy 3 of our courses, and they're generally around $1,000, if you were to buy 3 of our courses, that's say $3,000, but then you took the cost that I'm going to give this to you guys, even just say it's 600, just for the sake of the math, you would have paid into our programs for years. So this offer is by far the best
I
offer that
get
we
it.
have. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll have the link to that down below. And as you said, you're going to add another discount in there beyond the 600. And that's
Yeah.
amazing. So you get the microgreens thing, and then you get all the other stuff that you have a bunch of other
All the
courses and
we
these
have
online.
courses on
Yeah.
we have courses
Yeah.
on raising animals on pasture, holistic land management. I have a
Hmm.
course teaching people how to read landscapes and how to evaluate property using Google
Hmm.
Earth. We've got other types of courses on the business of farming. We've got 20 courses in there, and we're
Yeah.
producing more all the time. So
Yeah.
it's amazing
I,
value.
I think the microgreens is a great foray into farming, and you are farming. I mean, it's small, but you are farming and you're producing, and honestly, that is going to be the distinction between winners and losers in this coming time period, where the time period we're already in, is people who are actual producers
Yes.
will be viable. You'll have a viable product that you can actually, sell or
Yeah.
trade, and it's different from, you know, some of the other things out there that don't actually produce anything or add anything meaningful to
Well,
people's lives. So I love it.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
let me tell you how the great thing about microgreens and how they can essentially be a gateway to many different types of enterprises in agriculture is there's no other enterprise in farming or business alone that's as easy and turnkey as microgreens. It's one of the simplest, easiest businesses to get going. If you ever dreamed of being a farmer doing, say, more broadacre permaculture stuff, stuff like you showcased in the years, myself as well, microgreens are a great place to start because now you have a product and now you have a brand and now you have people that represent that brand. And so you start the business, you get the wheels churning, you get the customers coming in. Then you might say, hey, you know what? This microgreens business is doing so well. We can now afford to maybe lease a couple acres or buy a couple acres, whatever it is. And now we got some field crops going on. Okay, now we're growing vegetables. Now we got another enterprise going on. And we already had customers from the microgreens business. So now we're just bringing those customers to other products. And they go, hey, great. And then in 10 years of that, you might say, hey, you know what? We want to raise pastured beef. And you
Yeah.
can do that because now you've got customers that are asking you for a product. And so
But
it's a way where
yeah.
you can just stack on blocks of an enterprise, starting with the simplest one that cash flows the quickest. And then all these other systems kind of stack in like a savings account. I've often said annual vegetables are the checkings account, long-term perennials and animals are the savings account, but they
Yeah.
all connect into a holistic enterprise that has many different parts. But you can start with microgreens and just explore, and it can get you there because you can start making money next week.
I get it. That's amazing. Well, Curtis, I know you got to run. You were talking about having a limited time thing, so I really appreciate you being able to take your time out of a busy day to talk to us here. And I will have that link down below for people to be able to take the course and actually get that the kind of the back end way with the extra discount for Grow Network members. And
Totally.
I really, really recommend it. Times are changing. We all need to change, and this is a viable, proven business. So, highly recommend you get into that.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks,
you again,
Marjorie.
Curtis. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, my pleasure.